What's going on? I want to talk about fandoms. I want to talk about what happens when what kind of work fans make when they kind of play. It's fun stuff. Some of it you might be familiar with, some of it might be brand new to you. I hope it's all kind of interesting. I'm creative director at a place called Everybody at Once. It's a consultancy around audience development, and we develop audience for media, entertainment, and sports. And I started with two nerds named Kevin Slavin, who some of you may know because he's an industry unto himself, and Molly Templeton, who's a burgeoning industry of nerddom. But the thing that we do is we like to build fan communities around things that people love, and we've had a lot of luck. We've been able to do things like build the American audience for Doctor Who for BBC America. Those guys, Whovians, are amazing. We've worked with really innovative sports teams like AS Roma out of Rome. And this weekend, we're helping BBC America launch Orphan Black this Saturday, 9/8 Central. Watch it. This talk is now billable. And the thing is, we tend to do this in places where we can actually identify the networks, right? We don't want to just know who the fans are. We want to know who they're connected to, where they are, where they operate, and not just sort of online, but offline as well. And it's kind of really important to do this because of this one idea that we use, that we kind of like surround all of our work around, and it's this idea that the audience has an audience, right? And it sounds really, really simple, right? The audience has an audience, but it's actually really kind of profound. Like, when you actually think about the fact that the people who you're talking to aren't just your followers or your subscribers or your viewers, but the people who they are going to talk to in turn, it kind of changes the way that you actually make things. And this isn't new. It's kind of emerged over the last couple decades, mostly because of the architecture of the internet itself. As we all know, the internet is peer-to-peer, and this is a lot different from the broadcast model in front of which we actually make most of our stuff, right? This means that media doesn't behave the way that we usually intend it to. And if you want to actually know how to operate in this environment, you have to pay attention to not just what happens when you throw the content over the wall, like when you ship, right? When you have your deliverables and you're done. You have to pay attention to what happens from there. How are they taking it? What kind of formats are they transforming it into? What are the platforms are they moving it into? And this is all stuff that is just really. There's some really, really fascinating things happening because of this, and I just want to talk to you about three examples in particular that we've kind of noticed, that we kind of love, and we really hope that other folks kind of build around in the ways that we've been able to. And the first one is to know that, especially with narrative, tiny moments, the smallest moment from a TV show, from a movie, can be a seed for this entire world of exploration, right? It's not just this one line of dialogue, it's what comes after that, right? What happens in their imaginations. This is an example from Orphan Black, because it's the show we work on. And this one encounter here, this one kiss, right? This right here turned into lots of things like animated GIFs on places like Tumblr and LiveJournal and Reddit. But more interesting, it turned into conversation, right? It turned into a time for people to think, what happened if these two characters actually did get together? Or what happened if the narrative took a different turn based on this one kiss, because it was so damn important, and that's pretty cool, right? Similarly, fans are taking their favorite show elements and imagining new relationships. This is the Google image search for. Anyone watch Supernatural? Anyone want to admit to watching Supernatural? Yeah, good. All right. So this is Google image search for Distill, and it's a portmanteau of two character names, Dean and Castile, right? And there's no romantic relationship between them, but fans really they want to imagine that there were, and what would happen if they did have this relationship? And so they create tons and tons of stuff, and they're doing it not just because they have crazy imaginations, but it actually sometimes serves a purpose, right? It allows them to explore ideas around identity, ideas around just like sexuality, things that they may not feel safe actually exploring on their own. And that's really useful. Similarly, fans are using this work to articulate ideas that are actually very political. This is image I found the night of the first night of the Ferguson protests, where a fan of John Green's book. John Green is a very prolific young adult author. Wrote The Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, stuff like that. She took a line from one of his books and used it to articulate this idea, this feeling that she had, that maybe she didn't necessarily have the words for herself, and sort of paired it up with this. I think this was an AP image. This is kind of cool. There were a lot of people who didn't like this, right? I remember seeing that there were a lot of people who were kind of worried that this was sort of the marketization of the Ferguson moment, and it didn't happen. But I think there's something interesting in this going forward as more fans adopt, or as more people adopt fan language in sort of the stuff that they do. This is like my favorite piece, this second favorite piece. Fans are meeting the demand for new content by recombining old content. So Chinese fans of Sherlock, the Chinese love Sherlock. And so much so that between seasons 2 and 3, if you're not familiar with Sherlock on BBC, it's like 3 episodes long. Each episode is like 2 hours, so they're pretty long, but it's only 3 episodes, right? And so it takes a little while before you actually before you're able to like sate your need for new episodes. And they love the show so much that when it wasn't available in China, fans would rip the episodes and then add Mandarin subtitles and then redistribute that in places like Youku and Weibo and do it for free, right? They're not doing it because they're trying to make money. It's because they're just really big fans. And this is an old behavior called fan subbing. I don't know if anyone is about my age and traded tapes of Japanese anime, actual VHS tapes. No? Okay, I'm old. But it's this thing that's been around for a while. When people feel so passionately about some content, about some media, they will want to share it with other people, and they want other people to experience this thing. And again, they're not trying to make money on it; they're just wanting to share this moment. And one of the funny things that happened was that when they ran out of episodes, because again, there's only 3 episodes in the season, they started taking Western fan fiction, Sherlock fan fiction, and then taking footage of Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman from other movies and other TV shows, and then recombining them into new episodes of Sherlock. And of course, like the dialogue wouldn't necessarily like match up, right? And it didn't necessarily make sense, but no one cared, right? They were getting a whole new story. They were getting a whole new content to be able to read, right? And it kind of looked like this.
It's my note. What people do, don't they?
Well, you pretend. You pretend. How are you?
I'm fine.
That was amazing.
Not what people normally say.
What do people normally say?
Piss off.
We met.
So you get the idea, right? You know that Mandy Moore was never in Sherlock, right? Just to make sure, in case you're not familiar with the series, this is great, right? And there's something interesting happening there that is less about the content itself and more about people's need to connect with one another. And it's something I think is very important in this third example, where fans are actually not feeling the need not just for content, but the actual fan experience itself. This is a photo of a Canadian Mountie and a baby bear that made the wire surfaces back in 2013, and it just kind of spread virally, and everyone kind of picked up on it. And but the funny thing was that on Tumblr, and discussion about the photo. Whenever, when you reblog a photo on Tumblr, other people can kind of talk. You can add your own comments to it. And so someone said, this would be a great cartoon. And then another Tumblr user who actually does illustrate realized, oh, I can draw that. And so she drew it. And so she called it Miss Officer and Mr. Truffles, because why not? And this inspired this amazing sort of avalanche of content to happen. Within the first 24 hours, there were over 10,000, I think, pieces of content of people dreaming up other characters, of people making other illustrations, people making short animations, right? People having arguments about who should be canon and where this next season should go, and they're all kind of doing it in jest. But they're doing it because this is it. This is the fun thing. This is the thing that they love, right? My favorite piece of all of this is the fact that someone actually recorded a theme song.
Miss Officer and Mr. Truffles, they're gonna get in lots of trouble, catching criminals, and there's a bounty, but they're no match for this bear and Mountie. When trouble comes their way, they're gonna have a good time. And when they save the day, that everything will be fine. Miss Officer and Mr. Truffles.
I promise you, if you go online and you listen to this again, you're gonna have it stuck in your head for a week. The great thing about this is that all of this work is non-commercial, it's non-market. I don't mean that in terms of it being competing with anything you're creating, it's not. What I mean is that it speaks to this other thing that's happening, which is that people want to be able to use your content in order to have conversation with one another. Content within a networked environment is a spark for communication, because communication is the thing that we all do when we're networked peer-to-peer. And if we understand that, if we want to understand the fans, we have to understand the work that they create when it sometimes looks like play. So, thank you.